ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on this week's episode, we'll be talking about the movie Jaws. But of course, before we get to any of that, I am joined today by new in town Nathaniel Gingrich.
We're back, folks! Back indeed!
Sorry, I just needed to really emphasize that because it's been a while.
No, all good, man. It happens. It has been a while. It's good to be back. I feel like I haven't recorded in forever.
I know.
I almost forgot how to.
I've missed your voice.
Yeah.
And your face.
Yeah, right.
Thanks, man.
Tyler,
I think Blake's computer forgot how to as well.
Clearly, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't recorded Dark Knight Rises the last time, which like we recorded that episode. It uploaded September 17th, but we recorded it a few days before that. So it's been three-ish,
It's
a little
been
over 3 weeks since I
84
recorded. So
years.
it's been a long time. But it's good to see you all. Welcome back. We're glad to be here.
And welcome back to you, listeners. I'm new in town Nathaniel. I'll never be an islander. And then I say yad. Like I'm from New York.
I thought that was Boston. I thought that was a Boston thing.
I'm not an actor, Adam. What do you want from me? I do the podcast with you, man. If I didn't, if I could do an accent, I wouldn't be doing this.
That's fair.
What do you want from
That's
me?
fair.
I give you everything I have.
It sounds like an accent right there, man. You might be onto something.
Who else we got?
Also joining us today is Swim Trunk Tyler Verdalis.
what's going on?
Ooh, that's like a
swim trunks.
a film nerd deep cut because of the swim trunk scene.
True. I actually do like swim trunks. It was actually pretty funny at my bachelor party. Kendall was there, and at one point, I have like probably like 4-inch inseam swim trunks. Leah likes me to show a lot of thigh. And so I put those on, and then like an hour later, homeboy came out with like they must have been like 2.5. I'm like, and I'm like, what is this, a contest? I'm like, I'm not trying to. I'm like, listen, dog, I don't have anything shorter.
In the man's defense, Kendall's got thighs to show him off. I mean, he can do what he
got legs for days.
He can do what he can. Yeah. I mean, I didn't need to break it out, but there's a Speedo in the in the suitcase.
That was the trump card.
Yeah,
right?
If I was pressed,
I'm winning.
0-inch inseam.
Yeah.
No, honestly, like Blake and Kendall are like the two most in shape people that I could possibly imagine in my life. And then I also do have my buddy Zach, who is
also
my age,
who
is surprisingly still a fucking animal. Zach's
to listeners, I've met Zach. I was there at the bachelor party as well too. And
true.
He's the full epitome of like dad strength. Like he's
Okay, he's one of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, dude's. Yeah. I mean, he is a firefighter as well too, so he's got that crazy strength as well, where like he's made of wood. Like,
it's a raw strength.
Yeah,
like, he's just one of those guys too that was
like they're used
they're sturdy. Sturdy guy through and through.
Used to moving humans.
Strength,
right.
Yeah, we got like into lifting in high school, and like my guy never stopped. And like he's also one of the firemen that like cares about his body.
Oh yeah, he's making the calendar.
So, dudes, he's the fucking cover.
Mr. July,
especially in Woodstock. in Woodstock, he might be all 12 months.
It's just.
But yeah, he's like the only other dude that I'm like, dude, you're still fucking like mad in shape. I bet he benches over 300.
It's been a strange start to the episode, but I'm
glad. We've been
talking
about this guy Zach for so long. I don't even know how we started talking about him. But I'm just gonna get us back
we were
on
talking
track.
about
Shout
swim
out
trunks
Zach.
and then
swim trunks.
short swim trunks, and then Kendall had shorter swim trunks, and then
I mean,
shout out Zach, man.
Those are the three most in shape people that I know that are like around our age.
Before we end this tangent, shout out Zach for the being the clutch on the grill at the bachelor party as well.
Underrated
guy. You do need that guy. I'm not that guy. I kind of want to be that guy, but I also don't know when I'm going to learn those.
All right,
skills,
he had the grill skills down, and then he also had the like post grill dessert skills on the.
That's a deep bag.
Yeah, no, he's
a lot of people don't have that one. The grilling is like, I can do it. I'd rather pass that to somebody else, though. You know what I mean?
My man was making toasties in a cast iron skillet. Like it was impressive. Yeah.
Rounding out the squadron, of course, over there is Big Boat BlakeHolder.
We'll take it, man. Glad to be here.
Bigger
it's a
boat.
long journey.
Bigger boat.
Yeah,
Blake.
it was long. Well, bigger boat Blake could have been. What?
Nothing. I'm just I'm enjoying that thing, and also the fact that it was a journey to get here.
It was. We spent before this podcast started about 40 minutes trying to fix Blake's microphone.
To be exact.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And the only thing that worked was him unplugging and plugging it back in on the third try. So that's really sick. Great start to the evening.
Love technology, but not as much as you see. That is
I love that scene.
Post-credit scene of Napoleon Dynamite. For all of those that didn't catch that reference.
Yeah, that actually went over my head. I
forgot we reviewed that movie.
Excellent movie.
Very good. Very good. Well, it's good to see you all here, gentlemen. It's been too long. Blake, how was London, man?
Yeah, Europe too.
Good, brother. Yeah, man. So spent some time in London. And then I also had a chance to get over to Paris and Amsterdam. So 7 days total. And awesome.
So just enough time for the jet lag to wear off and then get it right back.
And get right back to it.
The other direction.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, that was a little challenging. But yeah, overall, man, it was awesome. London is probably my favorite of the three.
Love it. Love really? London, man.
Awesome. Yeah, and now I understand what Nathaniel's been saying. Where London is awesome. It's weird. It's almost like a Western city.
100%.
Place in Europe. And I think that's why I like it being American.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where Paris and Amsterdam are much more like your quote unquote traditional European city. So they look significantly older.
I think Amsterdam
significantly different.
Amsterdam would be the one that I think would be the biggest trip. That's one I personally haven't gotten to Amsterdam yet. But I have a couple of friends that have lived there for a significant amount of time, and it sounds like a great place.
Yeah, for sure. Very walkable. But yeah, all in all, man, it was awesome, dude. I would thoroughly enjoy to get back to London. For sure.
Different place, man. Going overseas, seeing it, really understanding.
Yeah, man, it was cool. It was cool. Where I stayed was right next to Soho.
Okay, sure.
So yeah, that like immediately took me back to that movie, right? Last Night in Soho. So yeah, it was cool. It was cool. And obviously, it goes without being said, everything's in English. So it just makes it infinitely easier to navigate.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
at the end of the day.
It does help.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does help. Cool, man. Was that your first time in Europe?
It was, brother.
It was.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well, glad, man. Glad you had a good time, and glad you made it back home safe.
Yeah, of course.
I'll get over there one of these days. I'll bring Nathaniel. He can show me around.
Don't know what you're talking about.
To me, the recommendation would be London first.
Okay, fair enough. All right, fellas. Well, I would say I would love to do more intro pod stuff.
No,
we
we're
burned
good.
all of our time fixing microphones. So let's go ahead and just run right into this review segment here. Of course, we're reviewing Jaws this week. It is Tyler's birthday pick. A little belated here. It was right on schedule until we didn't have time to record these past 2 weeks, and now it's kind of still on schedule because we're in October, and this is somewhat of a horror movie, although it's not all that scary. It's still under that classification. I would say overall.
I will say this was like the scariest movie I saw until I was like probably 15.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, I don't think it's scary. I would say it's not scary anymore. But when it came out, yeah, this is absolutely like.
I was like
movie,
11 when I saw this.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah. No, it's definitely under that classification.
I'm in a pool with chlorine and and fresh water, and I'm still like, Jaws could happen here, folks.
I'm in my bathtub with bubbles,
yeah.
and I'm still looking around.
Yeah,
I'm in the suburbs on a toilet. And
I am washing my hands. Like, is that?
I'm on a trampoline, and I'm scared that there could be a shark coming up from underneath me.
One of my favorite viewing experiences of this movie was down at the lake. They put an outdoor
man.
They put an outdoor screen on one of the marinas. And then you go park boats, and then you get out and you're in a tube watching the movie the whole time. And it was pretty dope. It was a lot of fun.
That sounds pretty awesome.
It's like watching Jurassic Park in a Jeep Wrangler or something. Or a Ford Explorer.
Ford Explorer, yeah. Or a helicopter.
Nathaniel,
on the back of a T-Rex.
Well,
always also would work.
Nathaniel, if the listener here is new, or maybe they've just forgotten, can you give them a rundown of how our review segment works?
I won't give you a rundown, but I'll give you a ship down. Because
that works too.
A Mayday? Give us a Mayday.
Mayday. Folks, we're here out on the Orca, and I'm about to tell you all about the safety procedures / the way that the podcast works here on Back Row Banter. I don't know why I've slipped into this accent. It is neither East
But
Coast.
now you have to finish it out.
Yeah, it's happening.
Commit. Now,
it's happening.
Commit.
We're starting.
Go back. Yeah.
It's a bit Ted Lasso in some ways, but
a little bit.
Yeah, it's split into 2 sections. There is the non-spoiler section, then there's the spoiler section. It's pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll get into what we would rate it and what we would say if it is a recommend or a not recommend. It's self-explanatory. You might understand it a little bit better than I do. But then after that, we will get into spoilers. If you do not want to have this spoiled for you, please go ahead and check out at that time. Come on back later, and we'll rank it up on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we watched ranked on this podcast. But yeah, in spoiler time, we're going for spoilers. That being said, it is quite an old movie. I hope you all did enjoy it. Yeah. Adam, take us home.
If I had control of the soundboard right now, I'd be smashing the applause button, man. That was great. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Yeah, this is Jaws, of course, released all the way back in 1975, which is nearly 50, would that be 50 years?
Come on, 50.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
We're in the 2020s.
Long time. Rated PG with a runtime of 2 hours and 4 minutes and an IMDb rating of 8.1 out of 10. Yeah. Wait, I did just kind of move over that.
This actually,
I mean, it's
this and Indiana Jones Temple of Doom are the reason for the PG-13 rating. Actually,
oh, that makes sense. Yeah, you kind of need some in between.
A little bit.
Yeah. Don't say.
You might need a little bit in between. Here we go. It's directed by Steven Spielberg. Written by Peter Benchley and maybe Benchley.
It is Peter Benchley.
And Carl Gottlieb.
Yes, who is also an actor in this movie.
And then it's based on a novel by Peter. You should say it's Benchley?
It is Benchley, yep.
Okay, cool. The cast includes Roy Schneider, Robert Shaw, Richard Dreyfuss, Lorraine Gray, and I'll probably leave it there. I mean, Murray Hamilton would be the only other person I feel like would probably be worth mentioning, and then of course Carl Gottlieb, as you
It's also
have already said.
Roy Scheider and Lorraine Gary as well too.
Oh, did I say Schneider? I just missed it.
It's like, well, Roy Scheider, Rob Schneider are very similar
Yeah,
as well too.
yeah. You know, sometimes just kind of glance. You know, yeah. My bad. Thanks for the corrections. The IMDb summary reads as follows. When a massive killer shark unleashes chaos on a beach community off Long Island, it's up to the local sheriff, a marine biologist, and an old seafarer to hunt the beast down. That's an awesome summary.
Yeah, that's pretty
I
good.
do love that
I would say
quite a bit, actually. Yeah, fellas, this is Jaws. What's the oldest movie we reviewed? I don't think it's this.
I was gonna say this. No, this does take the cake to my understanding. Because we have Alien is 90, or excuse me, 79, 78.
Halloween
off the top
is
of my head.
78. I'm looking
I
at
guess Halloween would have been the other one.
Alien's
The Shining?
79.
Shining's 82 or something like
Yeah,
that.
80.
Shining's 80. Yeah. Let me scroll down this list a little bit more.
So it should be this.
91. You might be right, dude. Because The Rock is 90s, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
96.
Yeah, maybe
Scream 91.
I was gonna say like 93 for The Rock, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think we have
early
anything else.
Nicolas Cage.
I don't think we have anything else in the 70s besides this and Halloween and Alien.
Yeah.
Bro, this is crazy. I feel like in my mind we've had movies older than 1975, but maybe we haven't. 88 for Die Hard.
As you famously said, you don't like any more.
You know what? You're right. Maybe I manifested this.
Any movie before 1970, I think it was.
Full circle, 4 years later. Right?
I want it also noted. I also
you did go
took
back
that
on that. Yeah.
Not.
I think it was early on into your freshman year.
But as we all know, you can't take things back once they're set up.
Yeah, not on the
right?
internet.
There's no changing your mind at all. Once you say it once, it's indefinite.
Yeah. No, this is definitely the oldest movie that we've ever reviewed on this podcast.
All right, I'm excited.
Cool.
We would beat it with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, though. Fun fact.
Oh,
I think that's 73, 74.
It's early, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we would clip it within a month.
I would also say if we ever got some Hitchcock on here, that's probably gonna take
Psycho.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Rear Window.
We've
got options. We've got options.
We got options.
All right. But Jaws here, fellas. This is Nathaniel. Just you can have like the rest of the episode if you want, if you need it. Yeah, I know this is Tyler's birthday pick, but this is also one of those movies for you, right?
This is one for me. Yeah. I think I've probably seen this movie 40
billions and billions and billions.
I was gonna say 40 to 50 times, maybe. Like
it's a huge number.
It's a huge, huge number. Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you how big it is. It's so big.
Don't even ask me. Yeah, I think early on I sent to the group chat like I think I could quote this whole movie. And that goes for the documentary that was on my like 35th anniversary edition DVD of Jaws that I had. I was telling Waz this, I think, or maybe it was Tyler or someone, when I was a kid and there was no streaming services that you could get on your phone or download to your iTouch or iPad at any given point. I had a DVD player. And I saved up my money to buy this portable DVD player, and it came with a case that it could only hold like 7 movies. And one of those was Jaws. And I probably watched this at least once a road trip from age like 11 to 17. Plus beyond that. So, yeah, I love this movie. It's great. It's Spielberg. It's young Spielberg. I mean, what are you going to do?
This is what made Spielberg for the most part. Yeah, this is before E.T., right?
This is genuinely his big break. You have Duel, which is a TV movie, I want to say, and then he
Right.
was like directing episodes of Columbo and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But this is definitely his breakout. And yeah, I mean, proves he's got the goods right out the gate. And I think just some of the all-time masculinity performances in this movie. I think some of the all-time kind of just like American performances in this movie as well
Sure.
too, from like Roy Scheider to Quint to Hooper, even to the mayor Murray Hamilton. Should have got an Oscar in this Hooper for the shady mayor. Like, he's the best.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I love this movie. Tyler, take me away here, friend. I'm gonna recommend it. I mean, what the fuck are we talking about? It's Jaws. It's one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah, this is a big recommend for me. Obviously, it is my birthday pick. But yeah, man, just super, super deep, fond memories of watching this movie. Honestly, this is probably one of the biggest reasons why I have such a passion and a love for sea life in general. And then if you want to, narrow in on that focus a little bit more, just sharks in general.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, it's something that I will always praise from a film aspect. And then something that, just has one of those really deep nostalgic connections for myself. Just being able to see this at a young age and being, so impactful, whether it is on the suspenseful part or, just the oceanic life part or,
Just
whatever it is.
fundamentally changing people's relationship with the ocean for
sure.
2 to 3 generations at this point. Like,
yeah, man. I mean, people are still more afraid of sharks than they realistically
right?
should be.
Like trying to take out a whole species, if you want to make that argument.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, sharks were hunted. I mean, for years before this, just out of survival, people eat what you're gonna eat back in the day. Going back hundreds of years. But I mean, like, it's crazy. One, how much we don't even know about the ocean still, and how much we haven't even explored. But yeah, man, it created such a great little passion for me. But it was crazy how sharks were viewed after this movie, and after just other things that came out about sharks. And there's been plenty of shark attacks and everything like that. We can get into all that, if you really want to, but that's a different podcast, different time. But yeah, man, love this movie, love everybody in it. Specifically Jaws himself. He's real, he's an actor. And then, like, going to Universal Studios as a kid and being able to ride this ride was fucking insane. One of the most wild experiences I've ever had. But yeah, man, huge recommend for me. I'll pass it off to Blake because he's the resident animal, small, large, or medium expert. And so yeah, I'll throw it over to Blake, but I'm a huge recommend for sure.
Yeah. Short and sweet, I'll be a recommend. To deep dive it further, this is the first time I've seen this movie in its totality. I've seen pieces of this movie, and that is kind of few and far between, though. So it's not like I've seen it a ton outside of like the pop culture references.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was either yours or Adam's. Just out of sheer curiosity, but yeah, that it doesn't surprise me if either one of you were very in the same wavelength of, like, I've seen bits and pieces, and I know the whole movie front to back, but I just haven't seen it all in one sitting. That wouldn't surprise me coming from you or Adam, just from a sheer age gap too. So
yeah, for sure. So that played a role, but it was cool to actually sit down and see the holistic movie. So yeah, I mean, it's certainly a recommend. That being said, though, there were still a ton of things that, like, I didn't know were part of the plot, or even what they were from, or even like certain scenes and shots or quotes. I'm like, oh, That's from
That's where
Jaws,
this come
you know?
from.
So yeah, so it was really cool to see that just being part of the kind of the movie culture, right? The past 20
Yeah.
something odd years
I've
of my
seen it.
life.
I've seen it parodied so many times on The Simpsons. Now I know where that comes from.
Right. Yeah. So
Or
it's
Family Guy.
yeah, great movie though, through and through. Didn't know it was PG-13 though, until I clicked it. And then I was like, oh, but it was one of those where like I did not know it was PG, pardon me, not PG-13. I didn't know it was PG, but then once I clicked it, I was like, that does make sense, and I can kind of recall that.
Sure.
You know, so there was a lot of small nuances like that. But yeah, we'll deep dive it once we get into spoilers. But yeah, certainly recommend a time period movie, something this is valuable in the history of movies and horror movies and just kind of where cinema's gone in 50 years. So yeah, certainly you'd be crazy to not necessarily like this movie, right? You can say it's maybe not a personal favorite, but you'd be hard pressed to say someone like this movie's not good.
It invented the summer blockbuster. The summer blockbuster is around because of Jaws. The summer was considered the dead season in movies until this movie came out, which is insane to think about nowadays.
Yeah,
But
right. Where that's where our peak cinema is, per
right.
se.
Adam, now
How do you feel?
you must be the most recent watcher of Jaws, I would say, because I don't think you had seen it when we started this podcast, right?
I had not. No, I my first watch of this was in my very first like official film class that I took in college once I switched majors. So actually, I take that back. I didn't switch yet. I'd picked up my film minor, and so it was like in my intro to film class. I forgot what the subject of the week was exactly that we were watching this for.
We watched it in my master's class for political fictions.
Okay. Yeah. I don't remember exactly what this was kind of the theme of watching this was for, other than it's just a near perfect movie. I mean, you don't need a reason to watch this.
Sure.
There's a lot to learn from it, from script writing to directing to cinematography. I mean, you can go on and on. But yeah, that was my first time watching it. Was only 2 or 3 years ago. Really enjoyed it. This is my first time rewatching it since then. So it was interesting kind of coming back around to it, having already seen it. Definitely a movie that I think sticks with you more the first time than the second time. Obviously, it's not. It's not that this is not a rewatchable movie. It definitely is, as Nathaniel has proven single-handedly. But it's not a movie that I think has necessarily the same effect on you the second time around, which like that's most movies, of course.
It'll come back. Don't worry. Just keep watching it.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. I'm sure it will. Like I have faith that it will. But I still definitely enjoyed it this time around. Is like I said, is I think when I first watched it, I remember either saying on this podcast or at least texting in our group chat like, "This is a damn near perfect movie." Like. So good from start to finish, really not a wasted scene. Kind of similar in Back to the Future, where it's like not a lot of wasted lines. Like everything's kind of building towards something, either developing character or plot or whatever it is, and it kind of keeps you invested the whole time. Yeah, I mean this is great. This is really gonna stay up there for me. I mean this is an all-time classic through and through. Like you can't really talk about movies of this era without talking about Jaws.
And it's a movie of two halves, right? There's the halves when they're
yeah.
on the land, and then there's the halves when they're out at sea. And it's interesting. Yeah, we'll talk more. Let's get into spoilers. I guess
We can move into spoilers. This is a 50-year-old movie, so like you kind of already know if you should watch it or not.
Sharks happen.
And all that.
They eat people.
And
spoiler.
Or maybe it's not sharks. No, I'm just kidding.
It's an octopus.
There you go. Yeah, we're gonna head into spoilers. So if you've not seen Jaws and do not want it spoiled for you, go ahead and check that episode description where I've left a timestamp you could jump to, where you'll be taken to the ranking of the movie up upon our entropy list. Spoilers time, Nathaniel.
Shit goes down.
Yes, it does.
True.
I think one of my
Jaws.
favorite things about this movie is that like it almost didn't happen the way it happened because of the shark.
Yeah.
And the way they had to film this movie, where like you don't see the shark all that much. And that wasn't really the plan. Like they were gonna include it a lot more in the movie, but this was one of the first like animatronic like animals or whatever you want to say for movie making, especially. And they put it in the water and it didn't move.
Yes.
The way they wanted it to.
It was. It wasn't that it was one of the first ones. It was the fact that they were using it underwater as much at
Is
the
that
same
more what it was? Okay.
time. Yeah, because they actually got the guy that had built the this giant squid for the Disney Channel. Or not Disney Channel. God, there was no Disney Channel at this time. But the
What budget
Disney
have?
movie version, live action version of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea,
Okay.
which they filmed in a freshwater tank. But this was the first time they used it out in salt water, and they put it out in there, and it was the salt water that just made it not work, basically, and sink to the ocean or
Makes
floor.
sense.
So yeah, you don't basically the first half of the movie you never see the shark, and that was because they couldn't either get the clearance for it under with like the enough so you wouldn't see the rig under the sea as well too, or
Under the sea.
under the sea, or the actual pneumatics and or hydraulics, whichever one actually makes sense in that scenario, working correctly. But yeah.
Right. But it's one of those things that it turns out where it's like this movie I don't think is the same if you don't get that reveal of the shark when they're on the boat.
It's a miracle movie. It is. Everything goes wrong, but they continue to make it, and it's better for it, as you say. They are you work within the limitations, and the limitations improve the final product because of it.
That's movies, baby.
That's movies, baby.
Yeah.
I think from the outset, from the get-go, it's it hits, you're there, you're in, you've got that first little kind of almost cold open with the girl getting dragged under, and then you've got the Kittner boy, which comes after that great bit where we're introduced to Chief Brody, who is just my dad. Like as a kid, my dad has that same like sun-beaten, weathered look, and he's got that same kind of practicality as well too. And I was just like, oh fuck, that's my dad as a kid. And Hooper comes in, and he's great from the get-go. Very different from the book as well too. One of my all-time favorite scenes is the scene at the dinner after Hooper has arrived, where it's Chief Brody, his wife, and Hooper all sitting together talking about the shark and what's going on, and drinking the wine and everything. And then Robert Shaw as Quint, obviously, is just... He's a character that could so easily feel like he's in a completely different movie from the rest of them. But instead, he fits in so well, and it just moves it into that extra gear until you're out on the ocean, and then all of a sudden it's just three men against nature, and now you're alone. You're out there, and there's a shark that you think or that's bigger than anything you've ever come across, and you realize how outgunned you are. And
and I think he really carries that like second half when they're on the boat. I think his presence, his character and acting is really kind of what pulls it all together.
The Indianapolis speech
half.
and scene is some of the greatest. It's some of the greatest.
It's a great monologue.
It's some of the greatest, like just cinema in history. The all three of them sitting around the table and the alone out there as things go. And then the speech, followed by the attack from the shark, and then later on it ends up with the comet in the background as well, so are the shooting stars.
So good. Yeah.
Like it's one of the all-time great end of the second act, start of the third act, kind of just transition. Yeah, great movie. I could talk as much as I want. Please, someone else talk about this.
Ty,
No,
this
it's
was
all
your
good,
birthday
man.
pick.
It's,
Why did you decide to pick this one?
Honestly, you guys were fixing problems, and Nathaniel and I were putting the team on our back and making conversation. And I actually kind of brought it up. I really thought I was gonna try and figure out something from like an anime standpoint, just because that's one of the things that doesn't get put on this list. Not that that's a
We
bad
said
thing, but
it was a year ago we did Redline,
we did,
which just
which
doesn't
seems pretty crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's been that
Red
long.
Line.
So good.
Love that movie.
And I
So
think the last time I watched Jaws was when we were living together.
Probably. Yeah. Probably for me too, I would say pretty strongly on that. But I honestly, it was like just kind of popped into my head. Obviously I have the Lord of the Rings on here, and I actually went back to the list that we made like in the very beginning of what like our top 10 movies were.
Oh yeah,
and
episode
and
1.
Jaws, yeah, and Jaws was on there. And I was like, you know what, that's such a good pick. It's not on here yet. It holds a lot of value for myself, and I think just other people who appreciate cinema in general. And so I was like, you know what, it wasn't even really a second thought. I saw it and I was like, that's kind of perfect. So that's how I came about Jaws. But yeah, man, it definitely seems like a good pick now. Obviously, I think Nathaniel's initial reaction was very like, "Oh fuck yeah, dude!" Like, yeah, I didn't even think you were gonna say that, nor did I think it was like on my radar currently to watch anytime soon. And but yeah, man, it's like I said earlier, it holds such a high nostalgic level for me, which you guys know, just me being the older one out of the four of us, nostalgia has a pretty big pretty big percentage of how I appreciate movies,
right?
In my lifetime.
It's kind of in that wheelhouse of like, it's the movie that like our parents saw, mine and yours.
Yeah.
That like as a teenager that affected them a bunch, like the same way that like we would show a Lord of the Rings or a Pirates of the Caribbean to our kids,
For
or
sure.
something in that
Yeah.
vein. And so like to experience that as a kid and have your parents kind of sit you down and be like, you're old enough now, here's Jaws kind of thing. That's special, right? That's a rite of passage is the term for it.
Yeah, I would agree. And you also at some point you don't have that with your parents where they're showing you movies that they have seen. At some point
your parents set you down for the final time and they never put you on your shoulders again.
Yeah, and you didn't know it,
Right.
And,
know it?
yeah.
Whoa, I didn't need that tonight.
Your parents showed you
And-
their final favorite movie for some time and you never knew.
Yeah, the student, becomes the teacher, and now even at like Adam's age, and especially because we have this, you're seeing it a lot earlier, but it's he's showing him movies, his dad's movie, Papa Schwartz, shout out, that he's never seen before, or never thought would be in his wheelhouse, and Adam's like, no, we should watch this, or like we got to do this for the pod. And so it's cool to kind of see that flip, but you just don't get that. And this is probably one of the last ones that I could think of, that I think really sticks with you when you see it at such a young age.
Blake, where are you at, man?
Yeah, man, this was I thoroughly enjoyed this one, as I said earlier, and you all, I've all had valid points with you and Ty. I've seen this countless times, and Adam kind of being new per se, and just being aware of the historical value and like what this means to cinema, just makes you like appreciate it even more. And this is something like I wish I would have saw this at a younger age so I could have like nostalgia play a role as well when watching it. But it was still cool. I mean, and with that, there was things that I didn't pick up on, or not didn't pick up on. There's things that I wasn't aware of, despite being knowledgeable of the pop culture references.
Sure.
Like, so for example, I had no idea this took place in New York.
Yeah. Amity,
Right, like,
as you
no.
know, means friendship.
Yeah, like I just would have assumed this was like somewhere in like Florida or fucking Louisiana or some shit like that. You know what I mean? So that was cool, as well as not really knowing the true plot of it, and that they're actually like the city was aware, right, that there actually was a shark, and they're just kind of allowing
and it's
people
the
there.
Sheriff, right?
Yeah, right. I thought it was more so just like some folks
Some
on
guys
a boat.
and there's out
shark,
fishing. Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I traditionally thought Jaws
No,
was.
it's a
so
full
much
on
more
like
in depth.
the town's problem, tied in with the tourism
Exactly.
industry and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, that was really cool to see, let alone for a film of like 50 fucking years ago. Right.
So
So
I
you're
guess-
gonna see how influential it is.
I didn't realize this was your like first full watch. Yeah, I came back in. I heard Tyler saying that you saw it in like clips and that kind of thing. But yeah, okay.
Yeah. So this was my first full watch in totality. I mean, I've seen clips, I've seen a ton of the pop culture references, but
Of
not
course.
really the nuances of the actual plot. Right.
So that brings me to the question: did the severed head scare you?
No, because like
Damn.
I've seen that before.
Okay,
right.
fair
So
enough.
like in theory, like yes. And
I
like,
remember
the
as a kid, it scared the shit out of me. That was the first
Okay.
like jump scare I ever encountered, and I was just
Right.
like, "Oh my god!" Yeah,
Right. So like in fairness, like it did kind of like jump scare me a little bit, but like I knew that scene was in this movie.
Sure. Okay.
Right. So I was kind of
Okay.
like, okay, when is it gonna happen? When's it gonna happen? Then I was like, all right,
Yeah.
this may be it. You know, it was like one of those.
I would say too the big thing too would be like as a kid watching it, and then like the second third of the movie where you have those intercut shots of like the shark attacking the shark cage, and then you
Mhm.
have the real sharks that they have of like real footage of
Yeah.
sharks on top of it and like attacking it and that kind of thing. Like as a
Yeah.
kid, you totally buy that. But as an
Sure.
adult looking back, you're just like, well, that's completely different. There's one of a dude in a tank, and then there's the real
Yeah.
sharks as well too.
Mhm.
But yeah, that would definitely be one where I'm like, that kind of bites a little bit. But
I mean,
don't
that's
know.
that's what you had to do though in those times. So it's like you can't really fault him for that. It is a 50
I mean, yeah, Quint's death is still great. I would imagine. The guy in the pond, that was always a death as a kid for me, where his leg floats down to the bottom.
Yeah.
I'm just like, fuck.
They also like the characters never really address that death. Like they get the kids out of the water and no one really talks about
The
how that guy
guy.
just
Yeah.
got
Well,
ripped
that
up.
was that's actually a cut scene. So in the original cut, he gets dragged by the shark through the pond. He grabs hold of the chief's son, and like just as he's about to like pull him underwater, he lets the kid go and he gets dragged underwater. And they were like, it's too horrific. We can't do that.
For real. That's
so yeah.
Nah, keep that shit in.
That's
Give me
that
the
scene's
Snyder
cut.
cut, man.
You can find it. There is video of it, and like it's funny too because like in your mind. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about filmmaking here, but like in your mind, right? You totally buy the whole thing. In reality, it's just him on a chair that's being pulled by a boat underwater, kind of thing, and he's got like a blood pack in his mouth and holding onto the kid. But like as the filmmaker or as the film goer, you're 100% like that dude is in that guy's mouth. He just chomped off his leg. Like you get that great shot of the shark under the water, kind of like going for him as well too. Lorraine Gary, underrated, I think, in this, and like is so good as the wife, as like one of the only female characters in this whole movie.
For sure.
Like
I love the really quick love the scene when she's like, hey, just like let the kids play on the boat. Like, just what are you talking about? And then she looks at the book and she sees like I forgot what it is. It might just be images of shark
it's
attacks.
a shark attacking a boat.
and like
yeah, that's what it is.
through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like taking a bite out of the boat, and she's like, "Kids, listen to your father."
We talk a lot about lines that you quote, and like it's a random line. It's not like something like super dramatic or whatever. I quote, "Want to get drunk and fool around." Oh yeah, all the time as well. That's one that's stuck in my head permanently. That and Here Lies the Body of Mary Lee, died at the age of 103 for 15 years. She kept her virginity. Not a bad record for this vicinity. That's been stuck in my head since I was about
I love
12.
the song that what's his face sings, where he's like, "Farewell to all my Spanish ladies."
Farewell and adieu to you, fair Spanish
Yeah.
ladies. Farewell and adieu,
Yeah,
you
that's what it
ladies
all-
of Spain. For we've received
That's-
orders for to sail back to Boston, and so nevermore shall we see you again.
Yeah, that one.
Yes, that. Yep.
Have I
You
seen this
you can
movie
tell
enough,
Nathaniel's
guys?
got Nathaniel's realistically probably got 50 views of this thing, right?
Port, bow, back, stern. You don't get it right, I throw your ass around the little round window in the side.
Here's a question for you, Nathaniel, I guess I should say, or Tyler. Having seen this countless times, have you had a chance to see this on the big screen though? Because they
No.
do put it in theaters occasionally.
Oh
right?
yeah, the biggest I think I've ever seen it would have been honestly the one that I watched it on tonight or earlier.
Sure.
Our living
Yeah.
room one, the 65-inch. No,
I
I've
got
seen
a
Jurassic
75
Park.
if you want.
Ayo. I've seen Jurassic Park on the big screen. I've seen Star Wars on the big screen. I have not seen Jaws, but I would have 100% go and see it. I would imagine Tyler's biggest screen would probably be that projectable one that he saw out on the lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not like that's not that
That's probably the
it's a
scariest way to
it's a
watch it, right?
screen.
Whatever,
Oh,
dude. Don't
yeah, I mean,
don't
that's a
downplay it
different
'cause you're
experience.
scared, dude.
Listen, I'd get on my little 3-inch inseams. I'd hop in that water. All right, I'd be all right.
I'd get on my inflatable chair.
Yeah,
No,
there you
no
go.
shot. You got 3-inch.
I'll go get them right now. They're 4-inch, but I'll cut them off. You know.
Favorite scenes, gents?
The explosion is epic.
Smile, you son of a
Yeah.
bitch.
Yeah, it's just iconic.
I really love the when they
Also,
get
those tanks don't blow up like that.
No, Mythbusters
that's-
killed
That's
it.
not how that works.
Yeah, famously the book ends very differently. And Peter Benchley was like upset about it, and Spielberg was like, if I've got them believing for 123 minutes, I will
Yeah.
have them believing for the last 2. Like, we can do this. It will be fine, kind of thing.
Facts.
I love the barrels. The barrels as like
So
as
good.
a filmmaking like thing, and this kind of constant tension you have, and whenever they surface up, you know the shark's there, and like
It's
it's
incredible.
this perfect little like symbol for whenever there's danger around, and you know the more that they get into them, the more the shark can't be there, so the more danger is around. Like it's so great. And I would also say shout out the dock scene where the guys put the ham on the rock and they throw it out to sea, and then
Oh my God.
the shark
Oh, yeah,
takes the whole dock out and they have to swim back. I remember as a kid I thought that dude was toast. Like,
Oh, yeah.
sure.
like,
This last watch, I definitely thought he was toast, man. It's a good scene.
yeah, I thought that was that's great, and
And it ends, and then he's just like, "Let's just go home."
yeah, great scene as well too. And then I do love the Kittner death, because you have the whole sequence of the swimsuits, people in swimsuits walking in front of Roy Scheider, and that's how they wipe the camera off, and then you just wipe it back, and it creates this very naturalistic, almost like one shot feel to it. And then you have that death, and it's insane and chaotic, and yeah, I think that's definitely one of my favorite as well too. That and the guy that says, I think it was a macaw, And the other guy goes, "It's a tiger shark." And he's like, "A what?" And it's the best line reading ever.
It's so good too.
Everybody's giving it their all.
Definitely.
Yeah. No, my favorite scene. Oh, go ahead, Ty.
I was gonna say I really like when Hooper's underwater.
Sure,
you
sure,
really
sure.
didn't get a lot of film on water or underwater rather. At that time period, so it was pretty cool to see that and how the lighting, and even now how like the lighting has progressed in actual things that are shot underwater.
So like I would 100% get in the water in a shark cage with real sharks. The thing that freaks me out is being in the shark cage where they have to ram it with the fake shark. Like I would be so convinced that I'd get like just killed, but like pinned up against the thing, and like no one would be able to wreck it. Like, and then I just die to a big fake shark, and I have to live with that.
100%.
Or my family does.
Yep.
Better.
And then one of the other things that I really like is the scene where they kind of entrap Sheriff on the boat, the ferry. They're like, where is he? And they're like, he's going out on the ferry, and so they literally just drive up and they basically trap him on there, and they're like
having the whole conversation with him, like,
we can't shut this fucking place down. You're crazy.
Could be a boat propeller could have done it.
Yeah, and then you can see, like the politics come into play, and the thought process behind all that, and morality comes into play. Like, no, fuck you, I should just shut down the beach. And so yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes too.
I like that scene, or at least that scene sticks out to me because in one of my film classes, I don't know if it's when I watched this for, it might have been. But that scene was selected as like an example of very good blocking in filmmaking, where it starts out as you just have the chief, they drive up, and it's all one shot where they drive up, the car, they're all talking as a group, and then quietly like two of them move back, and the three move a little bit, and then three or four of them move a little bit closer to the camera, and then once again the chief or the mayor pulls the chief aside, and then it's just the two of them, and they're really close to the camera. And so it's a more intimate scene. Yeah, it's just like a really good example of how you're moving people within the frame, in relation to the camera and all that.
You say barracuda, and no one bats an eye. You say shark. We got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July.
My favorite scene is definitely that table scene on the boat that we've already talked about.
Comparing scars,
that's
and then the singing, and then the
USS
Indianapolis. Yeah, it's
that whole thing. I've never been like
kiss.
so locked into a scene where I'm just like, oh, hanging on every word, like that kind of thing. Here's time for my hot take. Is the mayor really the bad guy? He's just trying to protect the economy of this town. Right?
Man.
Like if the holiday goers,
you call him out,
holiday
Blake.
goers can't come to the beach, it throws the whole thing in disarray. All right, they have 1 month. It's New York, all right? It's not tropical in June or August. They got 1 month to make cash for the year. You shut down the beaches, you say shark. That's panic.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I don't think he's that bad of a guy. He's doing what he thinks is best.
That beach too.
I still think he's a piece of shit, but
I mean, okay. I'm just saying he's got a point
to have that conversation.
No, for sure.
Only 24 hours. I didn't agree to that. Yeah, I mean they should have paid Quint what he needed out the gate. I mean, obviously, but how were they to know?
10 grand?
How were they to know that it was a mother of all sharks? It was Bruce. Bruce was out there.
Hello, name's Bruce.
All right, fellas. Any other big points we want to talk about here?
I love this movie. I
also love this movie.
I don't know if people can tell that.
We never did recommend. So, Nathaniel, are you a recommend?
Oh, I'm the biggest recommend.
Yeah, I think
we're
we
here
that.
First.
Should be recommends all around.
We might have. I don't know. I can't remember. Probably. Either way, though.
We haven't done Jurassic Park on the podcast have we?
Yes,
We
we
have
have,
not.
dude. What are you guys joking?
Yeah.
No, I know it's up there.
Anyway, if no one else has anything to add, we're going to go ahead and head out of spoilers and go into our ranking of the movie up upon our Entropy list. Welcome back, all the listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment. If you have not heard of the Entropy list before, it's our big list of all the movies we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastic list. It's essentially how we rate our movies rather than do it out of 5, out of 5 stars, out of 10, whatever it is. We throw all the movies we review on a list and see how they compare to one another. If you want to view the entry list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description where it is linked to my Letterboxd. And 207, episode 207. This is entry. What number is this? We got 203 movies on this entry list. The bottom is Borderlands. At the top is Dune Part 2. And we got a whole slew of movies in between. You know, I don't know what to really compare this to. I mean, Jurassic Park would be like another one kind of the
That's
of the
Spielberg.
era. Spielberg, I wouldn't say of the area. I mean, era. I mean, that's
Not
20
part
years
of the
later.
era. No.
Yeah, that's
But it is Spielberg.
different era. But it is Spielberg. That's currently sitting at number 8. Spielberg's other movie that we have on this list, I think, is it just The Fabelmans or is there more? He
Fabelmans
produces Back to the Future.
definitely the one that sticks out. Yeah.
I don't know if we've gotten another Spielberg.
I think
on
that's
here.
it.
Damn.
He maybe some movies he's produced, but I don't know if he's directed anything else that we've reviewed.
We don't have like
Um,
World of Worlds of anything on here, right?
No,
Ooh.
Independence Day isn't Spielberg, is it? That's not.
Nope.
no,
That's
not him.
Roland Emmerich.
All right. Cool. So then, yeah, really only one other movie to compare it to. Let me know if anyone has an idea of where they'll be placed in this one. I've got to imagine it's pretty high. It is
Yeah,
going to get
it
pretty
is.
tough pretty quick, but it's going to be pretty high. Man.
I got a spot.
Do it.
I will go. So in my mind, right, I was thinking, man, this is probably number 2. Because in my mind, The Shining is
In
still,
the old
number,
noggin.
is still number 1.
Uh,
But then there's this Dune 2 movie up at the top of the list. So I guess I've got to put this at number 2 above The Shining.
I mean, if you think it's better than Dune 2, please.
I mean,
But
I
if you
do.
think so.
I do. I do so much. Do I think it's better than Dune 2? But I'm gonna respect the list a little bit, and I'm gonna put it at number 2, and put it above The Shining because I do think it is better than The Shining, at least personally for me. Like The Shining is
Sure.
that next one right there, but this is. I mean, this might be, if we trace back, this might be Nathaniel's start in the scary genre. Like this is the opening gate.
Monumental.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
It's a good intro.
So yeah, I will put it number 2, and let you all know that Dune 2 is inferior.
Do you want to put it at 1, Nathaniel?
It sounds like you want to put it at
Yeah,
1, so I just
can.
want you to say it. All right, just say it, Nathaniel.
Dune 2 sucks. Jaws number 1.
All right, you feel better? Did you get that out?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, there you go.
How to work
All right,
myself up there.
We got a number 1 ranking. I'm not shocked. Ty, this is your birthday pick. Do you know you're going yet?
Yeah, I'm very mixed on what number I want to put it at, but yeah, fuck, man, fuck. 3.
This is oh
shit. All right.
Also,
I mean, I knew this was possible.
I
knew
want
this
to.
was
Yeah.
possible,
I want it
fellas.
on record. I would get like an orca tattoo. Like, you know how like some people get like a big ship on their chest. Like I would just get
Yeah.
like the orca.
Yeah.
there too. Then I could get Jaws coming up underneath it as well too.
Your whole stomach.
Yeah, just a big old shark. I think it's
That's
hey,
amazing.
when we get 10,000 subscribers, that's
10,000, dude. That's your bar. Like,
that's the
we don't
reward?
even have a YouTube plaque, and you're gonna get that tattoo. Like, you can't even say 100.
listen, if I'm getting that tattoo, I would like 10,000.
That is permanent. Not that you won't like the tattoo, but that does cost quite a bit of money.
Yeah, I want at least a Patreon to fund that at some point.
Yeah.
I'm still saying, like,
Maybe like
you should at least
20%.
get. Man, you got to set your bar higher, brother.
Well, Nathaniel and I have talked about a Jaws-related tattoo
100%,
before, because we both have such a fond appreciation for it, and we both would like to get like the skeleton of a jaw, like a shark Jaws.
Yep.
With like the teeth still in it. We would like to get that like on our kneecaps.
Yep.
that'd
So
be
like
cool.
it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
around your
Yep.
knee when it's like opening and closing.
Right
Yeah, that'd be
kneecap.
cool.
It's reserved for that space for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, this I hold this movie in pretty high regards. Like I told you guys, nostalgia plays a lot into where I tend to place things, or rewatch value, or just kind of how you fall in love with it the first time. And obviously, this movie has become a whole nother level of appreciation from just appreciating film and cinematography, and that aspect of my life that has grown in such leaps and bounds over the years. That this has to go high for me. So Pan's Labyrinth is also one of those other ones that I will always kind of hold very near and dear to my heart. And I think this is just genuinely a better movie than Django. The Shining is very hard to get past, and Dune Part 2, in my opinion, still holds true to being one of the things that, like I said, there are movies in my life that have changed the direction of how I view movies, or what can be done with film, or just the overall appreciation of it. And just like I said, how you see things for the first time.
And that's why we're
there's a
voting
little-
Jaws number one.
Honestly, if I would have seen Jaws on like an IMAX or something like that, for my first time, and being able to witness that would probably be something. Because viewing experience, like I say, from time to time, I think
Does
all four of us
change.
can agree. How you watch things has such a
100%.
high effect on the way you kind of view it the first time, and giving you that initial shock factor of wanting to go see something again. And then just even being able to watch it at home, it sometimes falls short of what it would be on a big screen. And I think that would actually probably be a very it'd be impressive to see where it goes. But unfortunately, I'll never be able to see this movie on like an IMAX for the first time ever. I've seen it way too many times. It would still be impressive, but yeah, anyways, I'm rambling, but yeah, I'm gonna go with 3. I will yield to The Shining. Shining is very hard to get past for me, especially being in the month of October. But I can get past Django and Pans for sure. So
Blake,
That's fair, man. I knew something like this was on the horizon, right? I feel like Adam and I are going to skew this a little bit just from it being,
which is
like,
totally fine. I think
essentially
that's
first views, per se.
that's one of the best parts of the list, man. We all come
Yeah.
from such different timelines and views, and
Right.
there's just that's one of my favorite things about this list.
multiverses.
Yeah, man, for sure. Speaking of crazy multiverses, I'll just what is it? God, what's the guy's name? Aaron Pierre, is that who it is?
Oh yeah, John Lantern, the Green
Fuck
Lantern.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
sick.
really? They announced
Yeah,
that?
John Stewart, yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Dude, it's so
I like that.
He's perfect,
Yeah.
man. He's
Good.
got the best eyes
So
for
good.
it.
I was going to say
He's-
his eyes already kind of fit the mold. So yeah,
that's incredible.
That's
It's gonna
solid.
be-
That's awesome.
It's an HBO DC show.
Yeah.
Who
in.
knows if or when, but it should be dope if it actually happens.
That means James
But
Gunn.
sorry.
No,
Kinda
no
like-
worries. No, that's valid. Just off coming off Rebel Ridge the other week too. So yeah, shout out those people. As far as Jaws, yeah, I knew something like this would be on the horizon, and as I echoed earlier, I think Adam and I are going to skew this a little bit. So
Skew it,
this
baby.
this is difficult because I do like it, and it is monumental, right, for cinema. And I'm somebody who always tries to like give the flowers when they're due, right? But ultimately, it was my first top to bottom watch of this film, right?
Crazy.
Yeah, so like I kind of detailing where I'm looking at was like, okay, I immediately went back to like, okay, what's an old like movie monster? And then there's Godzilla -1 at 43.
Okay.
And that was kind of like my first gauge, right? And then I was like, okay, I like that one a lot, but I probably can go above it just from this coming from this film actually being in 75. -1 is obviously the other year. Despite Godzilla being an older figure per se.
Sure.
Then you're moving up, and it's like, and I see Terminator 2 at 33. And that's a film where like it's at 33 on our list, but that could very well be like a top 10 movie,
For sure.
to be honest.
Easy.
With you, right?
For a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Easy.
So that's where I'm kind of like, all right, it's tough. Then you had Alien all the way up there. It's so I think I'm gonna split the difference between Terminator 2, which is one that could be really high with most people and is personally really high with me, and Alien, which could be really high with most people and personally very high with me too, right? So that's 14, 33. We'll cut that at what's that? We'll cut that at 19, 21. So we'll cut that at it's like 9 days area in green room. I'm gonna go 20. I'm gonna go 28.
28.
So below Ex Machina, 9 days green room. 3 movies in a row
28.
I love a lot.
Yeah. If we're going off of pure enjoyment factor, would probably be in that same range. But I am gonna knock it up a few just for the objective, filmmaking aspect of it. Given that like I don't have the nostalgia for it, don't have
Right.
the personal history behind it, but objectively I know this movie's place in history. I know this movie's quality. I can't look past that and just go off of like my pure overall impression of it. So with that being said, I think the highest I'll go here is probably 20.
I was wondering if
Midsommar.
you'd go above Alien.
Yeah, Alien. It's kind of a toss up with Alien, but like Midsommar is the one I'm like, I really like that movie, and then you go
Sure.
Interstellar, and then you go Whiplash, another movie that I of course
Sure.
really really like. So there are definitely some movies above 20 that I would say I could see putting this above, but like I think for me that's kind of like that good in between of like where I kind of like would want to put it and where I feel like I should put it. I think it kind of lands at 20 for me.
I took a tooth
So
the size of a shot glass out of the hull of the boat.
That gives us a flat even rating of 13, which means we have to tiebreak it with Inception. I know the answer if we do IMDb, but do we have a Back Row Banter tiebreaker? Do we want to put it above or below? I'm down to put it.
It already beat Alien for me, so we can do above Inception.
I'm down to put it above Inception. I'll give
You're
you guys that. Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm good with that for sure.
I mean, I would. My argument would be that Jaws or that Inception is a movie about movies, where Jaws is a pure cinematic experience.
Also, the plot line to following Jaws for a first time watcher
Oh, for
is
sure.
way easier.
3 men against shark.
Shark bad.
Shark bad. Shark big.
Shark big.
Right.
Boat
The
small.
plot of
Boat-
Inception is like
Boat small.
Need bigger boat.
Bigger boat needed.
the plot of Inception is like one of those plots where it feels like somebody has to like sell you that like on the side of the
Yeah,
street. Of like,
yeah.
hey, I got an idea for a movie,
Yeah.
but stay with me. It's something like that, and it sounds terrible, but then you're like, oh, that's actually pretty good. So
Yeah, Jaws was like a fucking 20-minute pitch. Inception was like a 3-day pitch.
yeah, for sure.
Jaws is the ultimate elevator pitch. What if a big shark came in and wouldn't leave?
Yeah.
You're
We
certifiable,
got
Quinn.
a,
You're
we
certifiable.
got a hook. We got a hook, and he just points to the piano. The guy plays it, and they're like, "We're fucking sold."
Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we have Jaws at 13. That's where it's gonna lay for now. Good spot for it, I think. I'm sorry
Yeah,
it's not in the
that's
top
valid.
10.
No, it's okay.
No,
I'm
no.
not disappointed.
I understand. Yeah.
I think it's a good spot. Again, this list is, if you're above, I don't know, 70, like you're probably a good movie. Like
Or you're a Denny
we have Red Line at 83. I have that movie on DVD. That's how much I like it.
Yeah.
Red
that's valid.
line.
Red Line.
So good.
There you have it. That's the review segment for this week. Review segment for next week, we'll be covering a movie called VHS, which is currently streaming on Prime Video.
I cannot wait to hear Adam's fucking take on it.
I have no idea what to expect here. Now, from my understanding,
Don't look at
blind, bro.
anything.
I won't look at anything. But this is like a Sandpiper tapes style story,
Ooh.
Nathaniel.
It would be a Sandpiper tape story. Yeah, imagine a Sandpiper tapes in one episode. With your favorite host Nathaniel being a hoodlum who's breaking into a house and finding these VHS tapes.
Got it.
Sandpiper tapes.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's
I
and
think-
there's a lot of directors that we probably already have on the list. Maybe not a lot's probably too much.
But they're known
There's certainly
to
going to be a few.
they're known
Yeah.
to Blake and I as horror dudes.
Sure.
For sure.
And it's like Trick or Treat-esque where it's like different stories, right?
yes.
That's
yeah,
the
in
idea.
essence,
Okay.
yeah.
I
was-
won't look up much beyond that. That's all I know right now.
And it's when's the first VHS? Then what? 2011?
2011,
12,
2010,
10?
maybe? Yeah, 2010,
Yeah.
2011.
so
Yeah.
relatively recent.
I would say, first VHS is pretty strong throughout. Definitely starts with a bang.
Oh, for sure. That's that short is a top. I'd put that in like my top 4.
Yeah.
For sure. The first short.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they're now on what, the 6th VHS film?
Somewhere in there.
7?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a lot. I haven't even seen the last like 3 of them.
Yeah,
But,
I tapped out after 2. I didn't see Cyber or anything beyond that. Really.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fourth
But,
one's worthwhile. Give it a shot.
That's
yeah.
viral?
VHS next week. It's VHS, VHS 2, Virals 3, 4. There's a gap between 3 and
I was
4.
gonna say, there's
Probably like 6 years.
Cyber is in there as well too, and then isn't there like VHS 94 or something like that?
Yeah, so I think it goes 1, 2, 3, which are pretty consecutive, and then there's like a decent maybe 4 or 5 year gap, and then the 4th one I want to say is 94.
93, 94, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and then it goes 99, 84, something like that, or
okay.
84, 99, and then beyond.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. I'm getting
Curious to hear Adam's opinion on this, though, man. I'm fucking
I will.
stoked for
I'll
it.
be even interested. This will be fun.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Spooky season, folks. I'm excited.
yeah.
It's late. Do anyone have anything they want to talk about?
what we're watching? I watched Wes Craven's
You watch Bay?
The People Under the Stairs and The Serpent and the Rainbow. I watched When Evil Lurks. I watched Terrifier. And I watched The Substance.
Oh, you're rolling.
I
You're
also
rolling.
watched The Substance against Nathaniel's best wishes.
I told you not to, and I was worried for you in the body horror area, but you seem to have come out
I want to
okay.
get to that so bad. I've heard nothing but good things.
You'll enjoy it. You'll definitely enjoy it.
Blake, I think you'll like it. Yeah, a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. I liked it. Overall, it's not
Well, we
necessarily
determined.
up my alley. It's not a. What'd you say?
We determined you don't mind body horror, but you don't like
Right.
splatterpunk, extreme, visceral horror, gory horror.
Gore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I don't really like either. Like the body horror stuff where it's like kind of like you don't. It just kind of makes your skin crawl. You don't really like looking at it. Like I don't enjoy that stuff. But I don't. Yeah, and I don't enjoy the gore either. But like I can get through the body horror where it's like kind of gruesome, kind of like like kind of weird things that make you feel uneasy. There's a lot of that in the Substance where it's not like
Sure, that's what I've heard.
necessarily gory, although there's
There
some
is.
scenes.
Yeah.
There is, but it's definitely a lot more like makes you uncomfortable looking at the human body type thing. But good movie overall, cool concept too. Well executed, I would say. Definitely enjoyed my time with it. So, yeah, you'll like it, Blake. I would recommend. It's probably like one of the better things in theaters. That's the thing is like,
Oh, it's so fun. I had such a blast. Like it's such a good time.
Yeah, me and my buddy were looking for something to go watch, and I was like, well, I've heard Megalopolis is a bust. I've heard Joker 2 is a bust. He didn't want to see Transformers 1, and so
You're
he was
like, well, I've heard the Substance is good.
well, he's like, I want to see
Yeah.
the Substance, and I was like, I was told I can't watch it by my friend Nathaniel, and he's like, well, get over it, and so I did.
Yeah.
Remember, you are one.
Shout out to you, man. Yeah, that's one I definitely want to get to before it gets out of theater. So we'll see what I can get around to this month.
Yeah, killer soundtrack.
I reckon.
Killer soundtrack.
I reckon I could be the voiceover artist in the Substance to be for the Substance.
You are the Matrix.
Yeah.
You are.
What's the
Matrix.
other part called?
You can only activate once. Remember,
Yeah.
you are one.
You were one.
So and go ahead, Adam. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say something else, but we can stop giving Substance tidbits away. I don't want to.
Okay.
Say much more.
I was gonna say in regards to other films. So we kind of talked about Terrifier earlier. Not to be confused with Terrified, which is a different
which
film.
is When Evil Lurks, the director's first movie.
Correct. Yeah. So When Evil Lurks, how'd you like that one? That one's a trip. That's pretty good.
Yeah, man, I enjoyed it. I would say it's probably 3.5, 4 out of 5 for me if we were like doing the star system kind of thing. I think I had an openness to it, and I think most anyone that like listens to this podcast would too, with it being like a foreign language film and that
For
kind
sure.
of thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely up there. I'm like halfway through. What was it? Have you seen We Are Still Here?
No, I have not.
That's another one. I think it's on like Peacock or something like that, but it used to be on Netflix. It's got like a 90% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm watching that too. That was pretty good. Yeah, When Evil Lurks, pretty trippy, kind of a different take on possession. Really enjoyed that. But then I watched The Visit too, the M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, yeah.
From like 2010 movie as well. That was funny. And
That movie's
fun.
actually not half bad.
That's decent, right? What was crazy was Catherine Hahn is the mom in that, and she's like super famous now for like Agatha All Along, and like I remember her from Step Brothers and shit like that. But yeah, yeah, that I watched that movie. That was crazy, and then obviously Terrifier, which I want to say I watched like the first 10 minutes of, maybe like 2 or 3 months ago, and I was like, I gotta come back to this. And then I watched it, and like, it's crazy because the performances are all great. We talked about this a little bit. Performances are all great. Special effects are all great. But like, it is the first one. I'm just like, man, this definitely still feels like just like a student film kind of thing.
Oh, for sure.
And so yeah, I'll see the second one. I'll watch it.
Okay.
I don't know when it will be, but I think I'll try and definitely get to some of those like lesser seen but maybe highly rated movies on like Peacock and like Tubi and that kind of thing. I've been reading spooky books too, so I read a book last week called Ghoul. That was, I wouldn't say super scary, but kind of like Stephen King-esque. I'm reading another one now called The Wicked. That's like a demon, classic like demon from hell trying to steal all the children in a town kind of thing.
That asshole.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
seems pretty like
Yeah.
rock and roll Halloween, so I'm excited about
Right,
that
right.
one.
Kind of similar to a film we were just chatting about.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm having a good time over here. Halloween forever. YouTube. There's a 24-hour Scooby-Doo marathon they got going on, which at least has the Scooby-Doo with the Hex Girls in it. So check that out too,
Scooby
folks.
Dooby Doo. I really only got around to one mentionable as far as like horror goes, or suspense, thriller, or anything like that. I got to It's What's Inside on Netflix.
I saw that.
It is a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you got what is it, like an hour and a half, hour 45? I would say, give it a little
Is
watch.
it a movie or a show? I thought it was a
It's
show.
a movie. Nope, it's a movie.
Oh, awesome.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's about an hour and 45. Yeah, hour 43.
That's perfect.
Yeah, but really great, fun little movie. I don't want to give too much away, just because if you start talking about like one part, you're kind of like, oh, okay, I can kind of see where that's going. But it's a fucking little blast.
Still
in
gonna
my
find
opinion.
Strange Darling, which I think Adam saw in theaters, if I'm not mistaken.
I did. You guys missed it. That was a good one. I would still see that at ASAP, but just don't look anything up about it. Do
I
yourself
know.
a favor.
People have been talking.
Yeah, find that. I don't know where that's not out yet on streaming. It's a
It will
pretty
be
small
soon.
movie. I
Don't
know.
worry.
Yeah, it will be soon. I don't know where
weeks.
though.
I'm sure. You
Hopefully
can...
to Tubi. We'll see.
Sorry, Tyler, to cut you off.
No, you're good. That's really all I have that's of note. So I think, Blake, did you get around to anything?
Yeah, I got to a handful of things. So similar to Nathaniel, I've been kind of knee deep right in the horror realm for
Yes,
October.
sir.
So Nathaniel got to When Evil Lurks, which is an Argentinian horror film.
Which I think you talked about last year, right?
Yeah, I want to say I watched it last October, or
Okay,
maybe early 2024, something like that.
Yeah.
And so I got to that, thoroughly enjoyed it. Then I got to another film by that same director, and it's going to be his first film. So I got to Terrified.
Okay, I was curious about this.
I like it. I don't know if I like it as much as When Evil Lurks. I do think that's ultimately him at his kind of best, per se, between the two films.
Okay, yeah, because
Where you can see Terrified, it's still kind of roughing out the edges, but the concept is there. It's interesting to see how we look at it from like an American perspective of like how we see like possession, and stuff.
And I mean, that's definitely part of When Evil Lurks too, as well. Like I feel
yeah, right, and that kind of plays a role here. So you can see things there's a different take on it, right, in Argentina.
Yeah, 100%.
Right, of how possession works, how it spreads, how it affects people, and you see that in Terrified as well. So once you've seen When Evil Lurks, you're kind of like, okay, I think I know what to expect. But yeah, nonetheless, all in all, good. There's a few really good scares in there. Yeah, that one's solid. I also got to Shaun of the Dead.
Classic.
Yeah, nice. So yeah, got to that one from being in London. I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go ahead and watch that when I get back. So I went back to watch that. Perfect comedy horror combo, whatever you want to put on it.
So have a nice pint and wait for all this to blow over.
Yeah, for sure. That's peak. I also got to Abigail.
I need to watch that. I'm thinking about watching that for one of my horror watches.
Yep. So Abigail, the director on that is the same two gentlemen that gave us Scream. Is that 5 and 6?
Yeah.
6 and 7.
Yeah.
5 and 6. Right?
Yep.
Yes, 5 and 6. And they've actually done some stuff. And funny enough, it's the first VHS.
Yep.
So they have a segment in there, to Adam's point. So they gave us Scream 5 and 6, which you've now seen. They also have a segment in the first VHS. So I got to Abigail, and that movie was fun, man. I liked it a lot. It's unfortunate, though, that the trailers like ruin that movie.
Sure.
And I've just seen the trailers just like in movie theaters,
Sure, of
right?
course.
And it's that's the downside of it because you're like, well, you effectively know
We know
not
the
the entire
twist.
twist,
Yeah.
but you know the gist of it, which like sucks, and you don't really see that come about to like fucking 50 minutes into the movie, and it's like an hour and a half long movie.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But it's fun. They've got jokes. The actors are awesome. It's got some
Stevens.
carryovers from Scream. Yep, Dan Stevens is awesome in any horror movie he's done. And yeah, all in all, that one's it's good. I like it a lot. That can certainly be that with your Ready or Not, any type of light horror movie you want to put on. I got to Grave Encounters, which is a found footage.
Okay. Yeah.
First time I've seen that one, and I'm not super big on found footage, but first time I've seen that one, it's been on the radar for a long time, and that's basically a 2010s horror movie, but it's the take on when they were like doing a ton of those paranormal like ghost shows that you see on like Sci-Fi, where they like go spend time
Right.
in
What
a
if ghost
hotel and, like,
hunters
nothing
found something?
happens.
Yeah.
For sure, right. And they did a found footage where like ultimately like something happened at the hotel, so they kind of get the good spin on that. But yeah, that was all right. Not my favorite found footage by any means, but something I wanted to get to. Then I also got to Oddity.
Oh man, I want to see that too. Where did you watch that?
So that was I had to rent it.
Oh, you
and I
did
think
say
I
that.
shot you a text about that. Yeah. And that's one that most people were essentially saying like that's the best horror movie of this year.
Yeah.
Right. Is kind of the consensus. So I was like, you know what, let me see if I can find that one. I ended up renting it, and it's pretty good. I like it. It's really creepy. It's kind of got a haunted house factor. It's got some practical effects factor. It's solid through and through. It's short too. It's like 92 minutes, 93 minutes, something like that. So it hits horror right on the head. And there was a pretty effective jump scare in there too, but it's not jump scare dependent. It's very tone heavy. But yeah, that one's really good. The director on that one's going to be Damien McCarthy, who's also done another horror film that I have not seen though, but I do want to get to it.
Have you ever seen
The
The Hallow?
I have not.
All right, that's like 2015 movie, but it's kind of like Pan's Labyrinth, but like also a little bit scarier from that too. Would recommend you checking that one out as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'll add that to the list, man. I've been trying to do at least one every day. That's hard to like keep up with, but I'm
tough,
trying,
right?
You know what I mean?
I'm with you too. I think I'm on like 4 or 5 this season. So,
do you have anything you're trying to get to before the end of the month though, like guaranteed? I got a few I'm trying to hit.
I would definitely want to see like Strange Darling or like Oddity or something like that, but I don't know if I'm gonna like get a hold of them as well too. So yeah, I'll be working through. I got my stuff that I want to see as well too, but I've just been going through some of the other ones as well. There's like again, Peacock seems to be pretty good for scary movies, as well as Tubi, obviously. But they have a couple on there that are like pretty highly rated that were like Christmas movies or Christmas scary movies as well too. So and some cult classics that I'm interested in. So I'll be watching.
Yeah,
those
you'll
as
have
well.
to keep me updated on any of those.
For
man.
sure.
I'm hopeful to get to. Been saying this for years, but I'm hopeful to get to Suspiria, OG and remake. Right, I'm trying to knock both of those out this month.
I'm always on board for the Suspirias.
Okay, for sure. Those are the two immediate ones, and then I do want to get to the second Hellraiser, just because I did the first Hellraiser last Halloween. So yeah, those are kind of the three I'm looking at. But yeah, that's all I've got. Long-winded answer. I've been watching a lot of horror. Adam, you watched anything?
Nah, not really. I've been very busy recently, so I've basically gotten the stuff for the pod here. Obviously, I already mentioned Substance, and that's been mostly it. Been playing a lot of NCAA. Ready for a rematch, Blake. Whenever you're ready.
Oh, I haven't played in a minute, man.
Yeah,
I haven't played in a long time.
well, that might be more of a fair match because I'm still
Yeah.
not great, but I'm
Okay.
definitely better. Definitely kind of like know how to play the game a little bit more
Sure.
than the
Yeah.
last time we played. So
Have you played online?
I played 2 games online yesterday because
How'd you look?
well, I load into the first game and I'm playing Ohio State, so I was like,
Of
cool,
course,
like
for
go
sure.
for you know what, have fun, man. Like it was
Yeah.
like good job.
Worst people in the world who get
playing the
online
second,
to
first
play
or second best
competitive
team in the
games.
game.
For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Oof.
And that guy knew what he was doing. I've never seen someone pull off like precision jukes the way he was. Like he was
Yeah,
slicing and
for
dicing
sure.
everybody. Every time I try to run, he's like immediately adjusting his defense, and then yeah, it's bad. So I lost that game. Then I played again because I was like, why not? Guy rolls in as Alabama. But after the first quarter,
So you
he
played
had like
Vandy.
QB. No, I did not. I was playing as Mizzou. And in my first game, I loaded up. I was playing as Nebraska because I like their playbook, and I was like, why
Nebraska.
not?
Oh, okay. Fair.
And then against Ohio State, I was like, all right, well, GG. And then I was Mizzou against Alabama, and then this guy I'm playing as Alabama, he every play would just try to QB run it. Like he would do a pass, and then the second I would like move my linebacker or safety, he would just go and QB run it. So I just started blitzing him every single play, and he couldn't handle it, and so he quit after I scored 2 touchdowns. And yeah,
Hey, your first rage quit? That always feels great.
might have been my second rage
Okay.
quit. So I haven't gotten like a victory where it's like, you know, you grind out 4 quarters, he comes down the
Yeah,
last
those-
drive or something
Those
like
are
that.
overrated. I'd rather just make the guy fucking rage quit.
Yeah, no, I was basically, yeah, I just started blitzing him, and then he couldn't QB run the ball, and then he quit. I was like, all right, dude,
Yeah.
was that your whole plan? Was
What's
just
what's the notice they give you on the game when somebody quits? Does it just say like game desynced? Like
it says like
it's always
Xbox, or it's like EA is gonna check our servers or whatever, to,
Sure,
and, you know,
yeah.
something like that.
seeing stuff like that's always funny for sure.
Yeah. I was just like, all right, dude, like, I don't know what you thought was gonna happen. Like after you ran the football with the QB for like 7 out of 8 plays, like, yeah, I'm just gonna start blitzing, and you can't get out. Like,
Yeah,
what? Like, just throw the ball then or run it, something.
that's funny.
Yeah, but I haven't watched it much. But let's get out of here. We're running long on time. It's getting late. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is Back Row Banter. Please share the podcast, share with a friend, a family member, maybe a fellow islander or vacationer or shark if you know one or two. Follow us on Twitter at Banter Row, on Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod. Our YouTube is just Back Row Banter, and our email is backrowbanterpod@gmail.com, which I haven't checked in quite a while.
Oh, boy.
But I'll check next week and see if we have any listener mail. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Fish are friends, not food.
Not food.
Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. Be on there, log some things, just keep up, see what we're doing for Halloween in the month of October. Trying to run through a ton of horror. Even watch a few horror video games as well with that Silent Hill remake coming out. Outside of that, PlayStation, Xbox, Instagram, Mr. Watercooler. Have not played NCAA in a while, though. Have not played Mortal Kombat in a while. Need to get back on par because I had that DLC come out. I believe Ghostface is coming out, I think, later this month, if not early November. So definitely anticipating that on Mortal Kombat 1. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Let's go to we'll go Nathaniel.
What up, folks? You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Letterboxd. Twitter and Letterboxd at NSGangrick. Instagram Nathaniel G92. Jaws is the best movie ever. Adam doesn't know anything, and Dune sucks. So we'll kick it on over to Adam and
Hot take.
Timothy Chalamet and Austin Riley should have banged in the show
Joe.
or in the movie. I mean, they were supposed to, right? Like Timothy Chalamet was supposed to be a girl. Paul was supposed to be a girl.
You said Austin Riley. Do you mean Austin Butler?
I did mean Austin Butler. Austin Riley's a baseball player, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I was like, is that
so Timothy Chalamet and Austin Riley, it's really, sports crossing together. It's wild. I mean, you should all be on it. Yeah, it's beautiful. I support it.
Wow. You can find me on Twitter at H24 and on Letterboxd at H. That's AYYSH, I believe. Is that everybody?
Nope.
I think that's all. Oh, nope, not
Ty?
Tyler.
You can find me on Instagram, Letterboxd, and X, all Tyler Vidalis, VIDALES. Is that it now?
Yeah, should be.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate you stopping by. And I usually don't get to close these out. So, come on back now. You're here. And, just share the podcast. We appreciate you guys being here and, helping us out. We want to grow and keep doing this because it's fun. And we will be RB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
This is one
Maybe
of my
don't turn
pet peeves.
left when there's no room.
I do genuinely think people are getting worse at driving. Like, I think it's
for sure.
like I
it's
know
been-
like this is my most boomer coded like take right now is that just like people have gotten worse at driving and it's noticeable.
But I would also argue people have always been bad at driving. Like,
I don't know, man. Like
most of the population.
but you got to remember you've been
is
driving
not-
like 10 less years than I have.
I guess that's true. I don't know. I've just never no matter where I go to, like bad drivers are everywhere. You really people will say like, people from this city are bad. People from this city are bad. And it's just
Indiana.
like, no, everywhere I drive, it's bad drivers everywhere. I will say Missouri drivers especially suck because you don't have to go to driver's ed to get your license. You just have to take the exam and the written
That's how
exam and the
Arizona
driving
is.
exam. Yeah. Which is nuts to me because like everybody here, you go through driver's ed either through high school or in a private school, like private driver's ed school.
Oh, I've seen the
Which is what I did.
stickers.
Yeah. 5-0 driving school, shout out.
Okay, we'll
I
see
took a
if
private one.
Blake's come back. I did mine through the high school.
I didn't want to wait.
You had to wait.
Well, because they do it in like semesters.
Oh yeah, see that always
Right.
worked out well for me since my birthday's in December. So like
Yeah,
it literally
mine-
was like the start of school. Like I had already had my permit for a little bit, and then it was just like literally
Yeah.
at the end of the semester, I got to take my driver's test.
Mine's obviously in September, but it's my mom did the thing because she's an educator. She was just very much of the you need to be you progress and you learn better when you're the older person in your class, not the younger people in your
Oh,
class.
so you were redshirted.
So yeah, she
I was also redshirted.
Yeah.
You motherfuckers.
So yeah, she did that. Being an educator, she was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna hold you for a year." And I was like, "Thanks, Mom."
I mean, I was naturally redshirted because I'm December, so I'm like not that late, but like
Yeah.
definitely the cutoff.
Yeah, I'm July, so I was held back here. But I did it through a private driving ed because like I want to
That's
get my
wild.
permit right away. What's
But
wild?
okay, also Tyler, let's be honest, you had been driving since you were like 12.
Yeah, I was
Oh.
driving pretty early.
Like-
You can get away with that in Woodstock.
I wouldn't say I was driving by 12, but my
You-
dad
you were
definitely,
definitely,
let
like,
me. Yeah, he
doing
would.
something.
He showed me the pattern of like a stick shift. By the
I
time
learned
was 12,
I'd
so-
learned to drive a stick shift when I was 14, just out in the desert. Like that's just
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what we did.
No,
I
I was
still
pretty-
don't know
I was
how to
pretty
drive a
young.
stick shift.
Yeah, my dad was very much of like well, you're sitting here in the passenger seat, so like, do you want to shift for me? And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean shift?
No, that was my education since I was like 6. Put in
Yeah,
first for me.
And so he was just like, yeah, he was like, I'm gonna push the third pedal, which is the
Yeah.
clutch,
Yep,
and
yep,
then you move the gear. And I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know that's how this worked. Which leads to a different story. And actually, I was probably much younger than 12. But there was a time where Justin and I were young and at home, and we wanted to play basketball.
To pause
but
this story, one
Yep,
second.
go ahead.
Blake's looking uniquely frustrated. Adam, should you maybe give him a call and like see if you can walk
Yeah.
him through something or something?
I got you.
Tyler, continue your story, sir, please.
We wanted to play basketball, and my dad's car was in the driveway. He had taken my mom's car for the day because my mom was going to be at home with us, and so we ended up like going inside, and we were like, "Mom, hello, like we want to play basketball," and we got the 1 minute finger. I'm on the phone.
Oh,
Fuck your
shit.
bullshit.
Yeah, of course.
I'll come out there and move the car when I want to move the fucking car. Chill out.
Right.
We're like, Mom, fuck
Which,
you,
yeah,
dude.
as
Like, what the heck?
as what an adolescent, that is just unacceptable.
Oh, dude, we were probably like 9 and
Yeah, sure.
9 and 7,
So that
maybe even younger.
might as well have been next week to you guys.
Yeah, and so we went back outside and we're like, this is dumb. Nobody loves us.
Yeah.
And so I was
Why
like,
won't my family just die and leave us alone? This would be so
And
much cooler.
I was like, I can move the car, and he's like,
Yo.
you can? And I'm like, yeah, like I know,
chill,
like
man.
it,
yeah.
this is like the brake, this is the
Yeah,
handbrake, this
of
is what
course.
keeps it in the driveway, and so I was like, we can figure this out. So I'm like, you going back and make sure the car doesn't roll down the driveway too
Alright.
far, and I'll release the brake, and then we'll figure it out.
So your plan was just put it neutral, let it roll.
Let it roll, yeah,
Yeah,
because
okay.
we only needed for it to roll a little bit down the hill.
Sure, I'm with you.
And so obviously Justin's not strong enough to withhold the weight of a car.
No,
And
that's definitely not gonna work.
Yeah.
Even with his ultra wrestling skills
yeah,
as a
which
125er.
haven't been implemented yet.
Yeah.
and surely my muscles haven't developed enough to compress a brake or figure out
Right.
how to pull the handbrake back up, and so
you backed over Justin, is what you're saying.
I did, yes. The car ended up rolling right over him. He just ended up like laying down.
No way. So
Luckily-
he went fully under, like,
Yeah.
and you just roll because you couldn't stop the brake. You just
Yeah,
went. Oh man, I'm visualizing this as you're telling this, and I'm getting. All right,
and
continue.
so he kind of basically, luckily he was centered on the car, and he ended up
Right.
just kind of basically laying flat. And
was
did
it
the
a
old-
was it a truck or was it a?
No, it was like a small, like blue hatchback kind of thing that was stick shift. I don't even remember what it was. And it just rolled over him and into the middle of the road. Oh, I see Blake's green.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I
it's
just
not-
saw there was a little like headphone symbol on Blake's screen.
Yeah, we're working through some stuff.
Okay, all right, no worries. Sorry, that is hysterical. So what?
Yeah.
How did you stop it? What, like, did you just roll
Well,
until?
Yeah, the car just naturally rolled down the hill, and luckily there wasn't enough of a hill for it to keep going into like the neighbor's driveway.
Yeah.
The road kind of plateaued.
Oh, so
out
you
pretty well.
weren't at the current house you guys live in? Of course, no. You were in a different spot.
God, no. Yeah, and so yeah, it just rolled down in the middle of the street, and then I went inside and I told my mom, and she came outside real quick.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
then.
Holy crap, man, that's so
And,
funny.
Yeah, she thoroughly flipped out, and then had the
Understandably.
neighbor come over and put the car back in the driveway because she wasn't very good at driving stick,
Sure.
and we got in trubs. So
Man, early on trying to kill Justin.
that was only one time, dude. He's tried to kill me so many times.
That's so funny.